Well, hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? I hope everybody is having a super great day today. Happy Friday. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate y'all so much. I appreciate everybody that was here yesterday for understanding when I had to jump off of my live so quickly. I made it to the doctor. They got it all cleaned out. We had pushed it together so well and so tight that it looked as if the inside meaty part is going to reattach well. So he only gave me 10 stitches across the top. I can't bend it for the next 2 days. So till Sunday, I can't even bend it. I need to keep it straight as that part reattaches. Had we not done that, I would have probably had 30 stitches because he said it would have been 3 rows deep of stitches. That's how bad it was. But, anyways, I am sitting here with my leg propped up straight. It is not easy to keep your leg straight, and it is not easy to walk down steps when you can't bend your knee. But, anyways, thank you all for understanding so much about me having to get out of here yesterday. It was really hurting. I was all numb and feeling good when I left, so he wrapped it up real good for me and covered it, and I went to the ballpark. And about halfway through ball games, I went home because the numbing medicine was starting to wear off. But anyways, it's all good. I'm going to miss my granddaughter's recital. Tonight is her dance recital. She's got a hip hop dance she will be doing, but the auditorium seating is very close, and I would have to bend my leg and sit. So I can't go. They're going to have to record it for me. But, anyways, so guys, I hope you enjoyed yesterday's live. I hope that gave an insight into a possibility of something that could have happened in a place that he could have went to or be put into, let's say. I wish we had answers, but we really don't. There was a new sighting of Sebastian. I saw it last night. I heard Seth was going to go to Virginia. Bristol, I think, was the name of the town where it was. But I saw the pictures, and the jawline was more of a squared, and it did look to be a lot older than what Sebastian would be. But if it's that close, go check. And so yeah, I have a new case I'm looking into. It's a young girl out of San Antonio that's missing. Sounds very fishy on this story. So we might go over that tomorrow. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to talk about Sebastian, but we do need to expand out just a little bit. Hello, JH. How are you doing? Let me say hi to everybody real quick. Brown eyed girl coming in first. Thank you for being here. Love you so much. Hi, Miss Kathy. Hey, TJ and Miss Rhonda. It is very sore, but it feels okay. Nothing detrimental. But Kathy Bartholomew, thank you for being here. Hi, Lori. Let's see who else we got in here. Kimberly, hello. We're going to have a lot out today. Justin decided to go live at the same time. Hello, Cheryl. How are you doing? And Roxy R. Hello. Hi, Bobby. Good to have y'all. Hi, Mima. Let's see. Chit Chat, how you doing? Hey, JH. Aloha to you. And Teresa, what? WAT, what? Hi, Jacqueline. How are you? Guys, I really appreciate y'all being here. Hi, Elaine. Everybody that's here, thank you for being here. Those in the bushes, thank y'all as well for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I do have pinned at the top, if you'd like to become a member, the iPhone link is there. You can click it, join us with our memberships, help us grow. We have got a really great channel here and a good group of people. Hi, Marion. And so we would love to have y'all. Let me change my banner for just a little bit while we're talking. But across the bottom, you'll see my Venmo and Cash App. Anything would be greatly appreciated there, since I spent all my money getting my knee stitched up yesterday. But if you haven't subscribed, join us. We'd love to have you. Hi, TC. How are you doing? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, guys, I thought, where do we go from here? What can we talk about? And TJ last night made the comment to me, maybe we go back to the beginning. And I got to thinking about everything. Hey, Gypsy. Hi, Terry. Thank y'all for being here. So the very first story we heard, all the way up until America's Most Wanted, there's now a interview on Dateline. It is just an article because they chose not to go on camera. Hey, Twin Chat Cafe, or Town Chat Cafe, how you doing? But yeah, they chose not to go and do a story. It might actually get out to a larger audience. Who knows what their reasoning is? I don't get it. There's a lot I don't understand when it comes to Sebastian's case, because the very first interview we heard was very simplified. We heard Mr. Chris talk more than Sebastian's mother talk. He wasn't there, allegedly. Okay, sorry. Just got a text. I wanted to make sure it wasn't something. Anyways, if he wasn't there, day one of us hearing from the mother and stepfather, the question has always remained, still the question, why does he have to tell the story so much? Why does he have to correct things with the story when he wasn't even there? I understand that he's married to Katie. I understand she's probably told him the story. But Katie is the mother. Most of y'all have heard about Jack and Lily, the little two kids out of Nova Scotia who've come up missing. Once again, we have a mother who has completely left the home. Folks, that's not well. That's not good. Just like Katie and Christopher leaving the home. He might be anywhere at this point. Well, how do you know he's not somewhere close by? He's waiting for everybody to leave so that he can come back home. You don't, unless you actually know. That's my whole point. You don't leave your home just 2 weeks after your child is missing. You just don't do it. It's just unheard of, guys. It's unheard of. Unless they're guilty. Those are the kind of people that you hear that from. People who have a part in what happened to their children. They do things and make choices that a parent who has no idea whatsoever of what might have happened to their child. There's a young lady that 25 years ago, she went missing. Her mother refuses to move from their home. She still lives in that home. She won't leave that home. Just on the off chance her daughter's out there somewhere, she will know where to go to. Day one of hearing from Katie and Chris, we had questions. Lots of questions. Choice of wording that was used made you kind of, maybe, you know, what? But lost a child. And then you get what is called thank you. Then you get what is called the deception detective telling us his techniques. You go listen to him. Day one, he flagged Katie and Chris all over the place. This is a man who is an expert at what he does. A complete expert. There's body language that you can't control sometimes when you lie. There's specific wording that is used so that you can convince people your story is correct. But you don't have to convince people if it's the truth. You just tell your story and be truthful. Like I've said before, the events leading up to that day have never changed. They got up. She made breakfast. The spaghetti pancakes. They videoed. All the things are exactly the same. The timing of it all doesn't change because those things actually did happen. It wasn't until they got home from Texas Roadhouse that everything has been mentioned, has changed along the way. In the Dateline article, she says she heard a noise come from his room around 10 o'clock. An hour later, she was in bed herself. But at the very beginning, the very first interview we heard, it was very adamant. They were on the phone for almost 3 hours. And at midnight, Christopher told Katie, go put the puppies, turn off the lights, all the things, go to bed at midnight. Wasn't until, I don't know, a couple interviews down the road, we heard she went to bed about 11 o'clock, 11:30. We've heard 10:30. It wasn't until Nancy Grace, and the only time she herself brought up the thud was on Nancy Grace's interview. Folks, you don't have to change your story to tell the truth. A noise The very first thing she says, I heard a noise come out of his room and I asked him, Bubba, you okay? Now she is calling him dude. Folks, this is not a story I can make up. But when you stop and you write down from the very beginning and go through each and every one of their interviews they have done, whether it is with a YouTube creator, which was the first red flag, they didn't put out their story local so that people local can get the news. Hey, this is what happened. This is who you need to look for. This is how he is and what he does. They did not go local. They went to YouTube first. Didn't do anything at all until later with the news. They go on, they tell their story. America's Most Wanted, the latest story they've done in person, and they're not even in their own home telling the story. They had an Airbnb in another town and went there to do the story. The father, he has nothing to hide. He stayed in his home and they came in his home. But Katie and Chris are not going to be able to do that for whatever reason. Because you can't sit here and tell us it's because of safety reasons. You don't want people to know where you live. We all know where you live. The sightings that we keep hearing about here and there, here and there. Every one of them should be checked out. They really should. If it is anywhere close to being Sebastian, they should very much be checked out. If you stop and think from day one, there was no sighting of Sebastian. No one at all. At the very, very beginning of this, almost 15 months ago, had any sighting of Sebastian. 15 months ago, all the way until today, there's never been a scent of him leaving his home. There was a scent that went to the end of the driveway where he frequently took out the trash. But yet we get told by the father there was actually a scent the dog picked up of Sebastian's that went from the front porch down around the side of my house, down the fence line, and over to the retention pond where the dog jumped in. All we have to do is listen to dispatch, and the dispatch call is talking. The dog picks up some scent over there and goes into the retention pond. There. Didn't pick up the scent from the home. They started at the home, but there was never Sebastian's scent found leaving that home. 18 search dogs to this day have been out there. Not one has hit. Mr. Chris likes to tell us those dogs are not reliable. Those dogs very much, 98% of the time, 100% accurate. You know, and I put today's title, How Have They Changed? And it's my opinion that from the very first day we heard from them on Duchess, and her channel link is in the description. You can go there and listen to that very first interview. But from that moment of hearing from those parents, Katie and Chris have told multiple versions of what happened. Mr. Chris himself has been very misleading, trying his best to make it out as if Sebastian walked away. Day one, Katie led officers away from their home. He left out of that front door and went. Law enforcement has said there is no evidence of Sebastian leaving his home. So how is it that this young man can leave his home and go away? Mr. Chris tells us he has always wanted to be a ninja, and this 15-year-old boy has succeeded in tripping up law enforcement. He tells us he walked on the front porch and he stepped off and poof, he was gone. Folks, Sebastian is not supernatural. No one just goes poof. No one just disappears. There is not even digital evidence showing Sebastian walking out of their door, since their door never once opened all night long. That front door was not how he went out. The story has changed along the way according to what is being put out there and what has been found. We know there's some lights that we call the light show. They happen around 3 a.m. Mr. Chris's investigator tried to convince everyone that that was a 2-hour lapse in time. That was not at 3 a.m. It should have been at 5 a.m. And that was flashlights. I mean, lights from a trash truck, not flashlights. Are you turning over your video from yesterday to TBI? They have it. They have all the information. I'm telling you. Those that need that information have it. But yes, Mr. Chris and Katie's private investigator has done his best to lead everybody on what I believe to be a hunt in the other direction, to put attention on things that are not in any way going to help find Sebastian. Do I blame him? No. I believe, in my opinion, he's doing exactly what he's being paid to do. That's the way I see it. Am I wrong? I don't know. I can't say 100% what is going through their minds, what conversations they've had off of YouTube. I can't say. Because Mr. Chris will not come on here and talk to us. He will not come to my channel and speak. He has been given a link several times. Because there are questions. And a lot of my questions have to do with why all the changes in the story. You have a father who wants nothing more than to find his son. Mr. Chris's friends and his YouTube buddies over there have done nothing but attack Seth repeatedly. They went as far as showing documentation that they FOIA'd that had Seth's driver's license his social security card, his signature, put it out for everybody to see. Folks, I have the document with Chris and Katie's info stuff. It's not for the world to see. It was for me to use as comparison to some of the things that were said. That's it. No matter what I think of them, it is not my place to put their personal information out there. But these people don't care. The attack has to be on him, because if it's not on him, then it's back on Katie and Chris. And they don't want that. That's how this has all changed. I honestly believe Katie and Chris are instigating every bit of it. We talked about the information from Seth with the other facilities that he had someone suggest to him. That email he sent and forwarded to Katie, that was given to people on the other side, per se, only because to form a narrative that, look, he was going to put him in a home. Of course, they didn't tell the whole story. Joseph, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. We appreciate you. We are so excited to have you. And welcome to the South.
Welcome. Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a right and get down? Welcome to the South.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for wanting to be part of our channel. We are excited to have you. So to have someone that works for you to put out a video that has nothing to actually do with Sebastian, it just happened to be the night that Sebastian went missing. Let's put it out as, hey, is this Sebastian, this little dark figure here? I actually didn't see anything that looked like a complete outline of a person. But hey, let's put it out there. Something to hold on to, something for us to have hope. Just hope. But had those parents been in touch with law enforcement and checked with them first, they would have learned that was debunked within 48 hours of Sebastian going missing. It was a man who walked his dog. End of story. They're trying their very best to change this whole entire story. And it's my opinion that from the very, very first that they spoke, this mother and stepfather had a story in play, ready to go. They honestly believed that people were going to be so stupid that they would believe it. They would eat it up because they were very cunning, very charming, and could pull the wool over anyone's eyes. Right? They have people in high places that can back them up. Mr. Chris felt invincible because he had Bobby and Carter on his side, right? But we actually saw today how once things are taken out of Sumner County's little hands, Bullhorn Betty's case was thrown out. They didn't have people high enough to uphold what they wanted. So yes, if you have not heard, Bullhorn Betty her case is over. Nothing to it. It's stupid from the very, very, very beginning, but they did have the right people in play. And they've done the same thing to us this whole entire time, folks. The whole time. They have ran the narrative. The only thing we know about Sebastian after Texas Roadhouse are the words of his mother. And the saddest part of all is those words have repeatedly changed. They've changed constantly, except for the daytime, because those events actually happened. It's easy to remember, recall them in order that you actually had physical things happening throughout the day. But to tell a lie of things that happened after that, it's kind of hard to keep up with, folks, especially as big as Sebastian's case has exploded. And that's what we're seeing. That's the changes we have seen happening from 8 days after Sebastian goes missing and we first hear from the parents. A red flag number one is they go to YouTube. They don't go to their national or their local news to come interview them and talk to them and, hey, let us tell you about our son. No. They go into a YouTube channel and his mother's so distraught she can't hardly talk. So the stepfather's going to tell us the whole entire story. You know, kind of like the parenting plan that he created for his divorce and for Katie's divorce. And they want to say they weren't together when Katie got divorced. Make that one make sense. But folks, all of these things are at the cost of Sebastian's life, his well-being. Where is he? Mother's Day is approaching. I read this post last night on Facebook. I started to show it, but I am not going to put that on my screen. It will not be on my channel. But it basically was wishing Katie, a grieving mother of a child that she so dearly loves, a mother who is hurting so bad that she can't hardly speak to this day. All of these words that were used to describe a pathetic, unconsolable mother. How unconsolable was she on their first trip out of town? You know, like 14 days later? She didn't seem to be very unconsolable at that time, did she? She left the home of a young man she birthed that was supposedly out there somewhere. 15 months later, multiple trips out of town for multiple weeks at times. I don't buy the Grieving Mother Act. I'm sorry, I just can't. And I can't buy that Grieving Mother Act because I am a grieving mother. I know what it's like to be unconsolable. I know what it's like to not want to leave your home because that was the last place your child lived. I know what it's like to have 3.5, almost 4 years and have to pack up your son's room. It's as if you're packing your child away. I know what a grieving mother is. And folks, I'm sorry, Katie might miss her son, but she is not a grieving mother. She didn't seem to grieve when she had her stepdaughter there with her for the whole summer, just months, 2 months after her child was gone. She was not the grieving mother. She was the proud mama. That little girl should have reminded her every single day of the pain that she should have felt in her heart because her son was not there. It didn't happen, folks. Do I know what happens behind the scene? No, I do not. Do I talk to Katie every day? No, I do not. But when you can't tell the God's honest truth as to what happened to your child, I have no respect for you. None. When your story changes 6 times, 6 different versions, you can't do 6 different things at the same time when it's all different timelines. It's not possible. No respect. If Sebastian was to walk back in that door today, I would hope he would say, I want to get my things so I can get out of here. And not want to live with his mother and his stepfather, whom that was the place he had the hardest time with. That's where his issues lied, inside that home. It is as obvious as the day. We heard Seth yesterday and Tony as they were telling us there is a timeline here, and everything Katie and Chris were telling Seth matched that timeline according to those CPS reports. Folks, Christopher wants his daughter so badly, he has fought for 8 years for that little girl. And if those CPS reports would have ever been spoken about, his chances of getting his daughter were 0. And he knew that. And if that continued, he wasn't going to get his daughter. Sebastian was going to be that person to keep him from getting his daughter. And I'm sure his mommy didn't like that. I am sure of that. Because this is the kind of people we're dealing with. His mother puts a post on Facebook at the very beginning saying there is a missing child. She never says, this is my grandson, he's missing. She never considered Sebastian her grandson, or she would have took him on vacation to Florida with her other grandchildren when they all went to Disney. You can look at a case from the very beginning and you have a feeling of how you feel about it. It could or couldn't be close to the truth. You can't take one time to make your choice. And folks, trust me, I have tried to see their side. I've tried. But when a court case with Bullhorn Betty was more important than doing interviews, that they were terrified because she hashtagged them. Give me a freaking break. Where is Sebastian? That's the question. A mother has a criminal defense attorney retained. The last 2 interviews, or 3 actually, that she did, her attorney was there. They were told what questions they would and would not answer. What kind of interview is that? How are you going to get to the truth with that? Sometimes you got to suck it up and answer some hard questions. Mr. Chris used to like the hard questions. Now he just avoids anybody who wants to ask them. Folks, you can take every single word they've said, whether it be on YouTube or the news or in the paper, any of it, and you yourself can make your own judgment. You can feel different than what I feel, because that's our God-given right. Does that mean I'm going to hate you? No. And y'all, I had never at any point during this last 14 months ever really think Sebastian was put into a facility. I really had not. But when I received that phone call, I heard this person's story. The fact that this young man, his father doesn't know where he is. Other family members have no clue where he is. That's how tight locked down this facility is. You could be a stranger and call and ask, and they won't give you information. But when his own father calls, he will get the same answer you get. That's how open I am with what information we get. Because I now believe that could be a very big possibility. And I had never really thought that before. I bounce back and forth whether Sebastian's with us still or no longer with us. I bounce back and forth as to what really happened, what really didn't happen, what's the truth and what's not the truth. I try to be open and fair. I try to do my research the best I can. Look into things. I try really hard to put out information so that you can make your judgment. I am not going to sit here and say, if you listen to any of those channels on the other side of the street, don't come in my channel. I don't care if you do. Be respectful. That's all I ask. Tell us your opinion. Because none of us have the answers. Therefore, none of us know the truth. And Katie and Chris can't even tell us the truth, right? So how do we know what you're being told over there by them is the truth? When what they've told news channels, YouTubers, law enforcement, all these things, they don't make sense. Because had they told law enforcement he never walked out the door, he just disappeared from his bed, we don't know what happened, that would be one story. But to say Beyond a shadow of a doubt, he walked out that door. I don't know why he walked out that door. Katie calls and says, our son has ran away. My son is gone. He ran away. Well, how the hell do you know that, Katie? If you were asleep in your bed and not awake, how do you know he ran away? How do you not know somebody came in and got him? And you can't say, because I would have heard that. And then turn around and say, he ran away, but I didn't hear him leave. So what is it? The one person that can tell us the exact story of what happened that night, the God's honest truth, has changed her story so many times. No one is going to ever get to the bottom of it. And that, my friends, is exactly what they intended from the very first time they spoke. And that is my opinion. You see, Katie was the one home. She put herself in that house with her son that night. She heard a noise from his room. But he's a teenage boy. She ain't going in there unannounced. Okay. Knock on the door and say, hey. Then open the door. Give them a little warning and then open the door. Especially when your child has a pocket of fluid on their brain, right? Doesn't matter how old he is. If you're going to ask him, hey, did you fall out of bed? You're going to feel like shit when he fell out of bed, hit his head, and he was gone, right? That possibility is there for him. What if he tripped over something and fell and hit his head? What if he couldn't have spoke? Would she have made up the story then? Is that what we're hearing? There's too many questions. Way too many questions. And after I pieced everything into that facility, and I gave my information to the person I needed to, I came on here and did that live yesterday. That possibility sits wide open for me because it is very possible. Very, very possible. When you connect all the pieces together, this young man could have been passed from one person to another person to another person along the way to get him to where he is today in a facility. If that's what happened. There were enough players in place that very much could be what it is. And for the man in the yellow coat to have a picture, the same as if the picture that Katie took sitting in the booth across from her son that night. There's the video that's put out where she tells him something and he starts shaking his head. No. It's almost as if you can read his lips when he says, I can't. That's what I see. That's what I feel from him. It's as if you can feel him almost wanting to panic, like, no. And then he gets very, very uncomfortable. We've been told about him being very childlike. Come to find out, he's a young man with very good manners. He did not take off walking in front of his mother. He stayed behind his mother. He walked behind her like a young man should. He waited for her to sit down, waited for the waitress to move on her way before he sat himself down. He has more manners than some men I see these days out at restaurants. Did he know before he walked out that door what was about to happen to him? Did he know his life was fixing to change completely forever? The changes that have occurred since that night at Texas Roadhouse and on. It can be nothing more than a distraction, folks. And I say this because if you wanted your child found, you would be telling every tiny detail you could to find him. Not, oh, we're holding on to hope about this new video we just found. It's been a year and they just find a video that law enforcement found and cleared 48 hours after it was taken or found. 48 hours after he was missing. That video was cleared. But hey, let's put everybody on this goose chase. Let's concentrate over here. It's so obvious, all the changes from the very first interview to today. Even Mr. Chris recently, a few weeks ago, made the comment. Here's a new one for you folks. I wasn't in Mississippi. I wasn't in Memphis. I was actually in Mississippi, where all along he has told the story and been very, very, very adamant about him being in Memphis. So he basically told us all he's lying. He's been lying all along. So what else has he been lying about? What else? They're going to put these little items on America's Most Wanted on the island of this fake kitchen. And there's a softball glove, but yet we've never heard of Chris or Katie playing catch with Sebastian. He was not an outside child unless he went swimming in someone's swimming pool. That's what we've heard. That's what they told us. But yet they're going to put a baseball glove there? What? When you have people who do analyzing for a living, have been educated, and have experience behind them, and they see more red flags.
Privacy contents have been updated to continue. Review the updated items on your screen.
I don't know. Something just got updated, and I don't know if it's my tablet over there talking or what. Sorry, guys. But, guys, y'all can't make this up. You can't. It's the saddest thing to ever sit and listen to, knowing that Sebastian is somewhere. And here's these people that have drank that tainted Kool-Aid. They buy every tiny word they say as truth. They don't question the 6 different timelines that Katie has put out. No. She's a grieving mother. Folks, you can be a grieving mother and know the truth. You can be a grieving mother and tell the truth. You can also be a grieving mother and lie your ass off. It's insane to me how people are just buying it and never questioning, where is Sebastian? They're more concerned that the mother and stepfather are getting questioned. I'm sorry, folks, but Katie was the last one with her son, and therefore she should be questioned repeatedly until she can actually tell the truth. End of story. And yet they're more concerned about Brittany speaking about Sebastian's case, going over other people's videos. Make that crap make sense, because it doesn't. They want to cause so much distraction. They're going to go to court with Bullhorn Betty and sit there and laugh and joke and have a good time, because they're not worried about anything at all. They know exactly where Sebastian is. They know exactly if he is or is not coming back home. They know exactly what happened, because Katie was there. She is that common denominator in Sebastian's story. She was there with him at Texas Roadhouse, along with all the other family and family connections. She was in the car with him. She says she was in the home with him after they got home from Texas Roadhouse. But yet he ran away, folks. He ran out that door in the middle of the night. Nobody knows when. Nobody knows why. He just ran away. I don't know why he went out that door. Well, guess what? That door never opened all night long. The ring cam across the street from them shows that door never opening. His window never opened. There is no visual evidence showing him anywhere walking on his own. He is not seen at all. There is no scent of him walking away from his home. Therefore, 2 + 2 = 4. Just like no visual, no scent, he was carried out. Someone took him away from that home. And until that gets answered, Sebastian will remain lost in his own case, because his mother is allowing it to happen. I don't get it. I don't understand it. A mother's love is supposed to be above and beyond anything in this entire world, to protect and to give up your own life to save your child. And yet we have Katie. Mother's Day is 2 days from now. And all I can say is, I hope Katie remembers that young man that made her a mother. I hope she remembers that he is worth everything more than any man or his family ever on this earth. Because she sure seems to have picked the latter. CPS reports were piling in way too quick, way too much. It was going to interfere with Mr. Chris getting his daughter. You know, the man that was required by the judge to take over 24 hours of parenting classes. Not just a course, a 3-hour course, a 2-hour course. Nope, 24 hours of parenting classes. And he fought it and fought it and fought it because he knew better. He knows how to correct a child. He knows how to be structured and run a tight ship with his children, right? Well, maybe that's the reason Sebastian was in pull-ups at your home. Maybe that was the reason he was having issues when he was only in your home, Mr. Chris. Nathan, be very careful the wordings you use in my chat. Okay? If you have your opinion, please make sure you put in my opinion. Okay? We're glad to have you, all your thoughts, but please be careful and put in my opinion. Thank you. Everybody remember that because they are going after subs as well. There are people that are watching everybody in their chats, different chats, and striking because of and attacking because of what someone in the chat says. Nathan can have his opinion. Nathan can say what he wants. He has the right to. But if he doesn't put in my opinion, they will go after me because I am not trying to make that happen. If that makes sense to y'all. Stupid as all get out, but it is what it is. I'm too honest for this. Thank you for being a member for 4 months. We love you. Thank you. Thank you. You are so sweet. You know, that's how stupid this has all gotten. If I'm up here talking and I'm saying in my opinion, and this is how I feel, they can go after me. Even though I say that. But you know what? We have their words to throw back on them. What do you do from there? I'm Too Honest gifted 5 new memberships. Guys, if you were gifted a membership, please make sure to say thank you to I'm Too Honest because that is so gracious of her. We appreciate you. And welcome to the lollipops. Thank you, I'm Too Honest.
Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a right and get down? Welcome to the South.
Thank you so much. Welcome everybody to the South. Welcome to the lollipops. Yeah, they were afraid of Bullhorn Betty. That cracks me up. A lady that just went to search. And look how long it went on. It went on and on and on and on. But, you know, it is what it is. And you have to be so cautious with everything these days. If all of that would have succeeded, everything they were trying to do to her in court, if that would have succeeded. Hey, Shelly. Shelly, I sent you an email. Gonna check and see if we can visit tomorrow. But if all that would have went through, it would have changed our right to free speech. And they didn't care. They were terrified over a little hashtag because that's all the judge had to go by. That's all he could hold on to. He made the comment, you might want to not speak about them. You shouldn't really do it, but it was never in paperwork because that is not something you can stop a person from doing. But when you stop and think about how have they, Katie and Chris, changed? You have to stop and consider Seth. How has he changed? You have a father still 15 months later searching for his son. He hardly ever leaves and goes anywhere. He is working constantly, any moment he has, to send flyers, to send information out, to keep Sebastian's name out there as much as he possibly can, to get his picture out there. He wants to find his son. And yet we have Katie and Chris going on vacations. Make it make sense, folks. It's almost too obvious, right? It's as plain as black and white. Here's two colors that are the complete opposite from one end of the color spectrum to the other end. You have white and you go down to black. You don't get any whiter than white, lighter than white. You don't get any darker than black. That opposite are these parents here. If you want to find your child, you're not going to spend all of your time for 8 months as the mother of the child not speaking. You're not going to leave your home because you're terrified of people who know where you live. But if you know where your child is, if you're not concerned about him and worried about him because you actually know where your child is at, it's as clear as night and day. Just as these two parents of Sebastian, it's so obvious to see their eyes and the difference in those eyes because the father's eyes are swollen from crying so much, from the lack of sleep and the worry. And yet Sebastian's mother's eyes are normal, glowy, not swollen. Folks, that right there is black and white, the difference between those two color spectrums. That far apart. And only one of them has changed from the very first day we heard from the parents till today. And that is my opinion, because you look at these people sitting here and a father who has gone above and beyond searching and putting out information. And you have a mother who searches for her child down one street in 31 seconds with her windows rolled up, down the street and coming back. That's how Sebastian's mother searches. That is how, sorry, I was vaping. That is how Seth is searching. It's the difference between one end of the color spectrum to the other, opposite. Katie and Chris are living their life over here. going up on everybody's YouTube channels, attacking a creator that they've never even met in their life, that doesn't sit there and talk about Chris nor Katie like he makes it out. He sits on someone's panel who actually does not like her. Therefore, he doesn't like her, right? But that's his right. But what's forgotten, my friends, is that Sebastian has a right to speak as well. And yet, he's nowhere to be found. Nowhere. So where is Sebastian? Where is this young man that we're here every day talking about? Where is this young man that just poof disappeared? Where is he? He has rights. He should be able to tell his story. He tried his best to speak out and tell what was happening, and the CPS worker let him down. He tried. He did what he knew to do. He did what was right. But because Christopher has family working in that office, you know, the father's not in his life. Don't worry, we got this. It is so obvious. So obvious. Yeah, Amy, it's not that we're trying to be disrespectful. It's just to keep, we just use initials as much as possible when we're in the chat, you know, and Seth doesn't mind if we put his name, but the others do. So that's all. Just trying to play the game right, you know. We don't want anybody to get in trouble. They are going after subs. They are going after subs that just have an opinion in chat and are there every day, putting out where they live, their kids' names, all these things. It's disgusting. And the bad part is they're now moving on to Jack and Lily's case. The two little kids that are missing that Justin covered, they're now covering it too. And folks, I'm just going to pay attention to them through Justin. I'll just be straight up with you. I'm not going to get into another case with those people. Those on that other side. It has turned into a nightmare, and they have made the true crime community look ridiculous. And I'm not going to play that game. She does, Amy. She seems very distracted. And it's not as if I'm just giving that opinion, but she has done things and said things that, yes, make herself look distracted. Exactly. Amy, she has told us 6 different versions of what happened that night. As if she did those 6 different things all at the same time. It's crazy. It is absolutely insane crazy. Seth is broken. Seth is broken. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, he will never heal until he knows where his son is. And if Sebastian's no longer with him, that healing will be even longer. It will take longer. It is not something you just get over, according to Mr. Chris. And there is no way, folks, that a law enforcement agency or agent is going to tell you, hey, he's no longer alive. We're pretty sure of it. Y'all need to start moving on. They will never, ever tell you that. They are trained not to say those words. It is. I agree with you on that, Amy. Being different. Yes, I can understand that. Hi, Ann. How are you? Hello to everybody that's come in and I haven't said hello to. Thank y'all for being here. You know, Mr. Chris doesn't have the attachment to Sebastian that Seth has to his son. That's obvious. That's a given. You know, I mean, nobody can expect that. But my issue comes in when we find out how many CPS cases were in that home within a few, 14 months, I think they said, just a couple of months over a year, to have 5 cases in that home. And they're not against just Mr. Chris. There's a problem, folks. And yet, oh, and I'm so sorry. That is hard. That is hard. It's very hard for a mother. Big hugs to you, my friend. But when you are wanting custody of your child, it's not okay to abuse your wife's child. There was obvious problems in that home where Sebastian was concerned. When they came up with the idea that he needed to go live with Seth, was when the first CPS report in that home happened. Same time, same month. Then things settle out a little bit and everything's good. Things start to happen again. And then he needs to go to your house. And Seth is like, okay, May, as soon as school's out, that's the best thing for him. But yet, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. That wasn't quick enough. So we're going to put him in a home. We're going to put him into a facility, not just a summer program, but somewhere to live. And this is what we're going to do, where we're putting him. And his father says, nah, I looked at that place. I Googled that place. Kids are dying in that place. No. So Seth reached out to look for someone to help him to find a good, respectful place. A place, he said, that would keep his son active, his mind thinking, something with interaction with animals, because he loved that so much. And when he got that email and forwarded to Katie and to Chris, they used that against him to make it as if he's putting his child in a home. He did not want Sebastian to come live with him. He wanted to put him in a home. He was working, he thought, with 2 caring people that cared for Sebastian and wanted the best. He thought they knew a little more because, hey, here we go. They're there all the time. They have to deal with this anger. I am just getting him over here for a little bit of a time. And then they decided it's too much money. We can't afford to do that. But instead of waiting 2 months, just 2 months, 2.5 months was too long, and Sebastian disappears. Make it make sense, folks. But there is a timeline, there is a pattern to this, and it's a little obvious. Yes. You know, I have never questioned that Katie loved or did not love her son. Never have I ever questioned that. I have questioned whether she made a choice when it came to her son. That's what I question. And in my opinion, and what I see, I feel like Katie made the choice of her husband over her son. I see a mother who knows exactly where her child is at. A mother who helped take that child out of that home at 3:00 in the morning. For him to be able to leave that home, he was either carried out, which we know at 3:00 in the morning, there was activity from their backyard, or he was carried out from her car in his garage. That obvious, folks. That obvious. That's how I feel. That's how I see it. And the change from day one is almost grotesque, I would say, from the stepfather and the mother side. They sit on panels with people who have made Sebastian the victim into a story that is nothing close to being the truth. It was grannies watching who sat there and put out the fact that Chris didn't want Sebastian touching his daughter again. Sebastian never did any of that. She says Seth said that. His own father said that. No, he did not. And Chris is on panel with her and does not correct it. That's the kind of people we're talking about. That's the grotesqueness to all of this. The hate towards Seth and the attacks on Seth when Seth was at work, when Sebastian went missing, and you just with the naked eye that this man loves and wants his child to be found. And they make it a laughing attack on the father. They're okay with that. Something's not right here, folks. The changes have been tremendous from the first time Katie and Chris spoke until now. But yet Seth can speak, and he's still the same broken father he was when he couldn't find his child. He's starting to panic. He's still there. He's stuck there until Katie tells the truth, in my opinion. Well, guys, I am going to let y'all go. I'm going to prop my leg up a little higher. Over to the side of my knee is this rounded little bubble that sticks out, and it's where some blood pulled over to the side. and it aches. So I need to go get it propped up. And it's just kind of, I got it propped up now, but it's just really aching really bad. So crazy things I do. Guys, I do appreciate each and every one of y'all being here. I appreciate the fact that we can have conversations and people can have different opinions, and everybody in my chat. Accept it. People are going to have opinions that we're not all okay with. That's just life. And I don't even care if they're average watchers from the other side. If they have respect, let them be here. Let them hear our side. Let them hear what we think. Because that's the way it should be. And I'm going to look into the little girl that's missing out of San Antonio. Y'all, this story is a little fishy, and we may talk about that tomorrow and discuss Sebastian as well. Because we're not going to stop on Sebastian. No way. But we're at a point with Sebastian to where we got a little wiggle room where we can talk about other kids. They deserve it too. So anyways, everybody, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for just being here. For being who you are, because y'all are just as important as any creator on YouTube. Y'all have your opinions. You put things out. I've had many of y'all email me and tell me something, and I'm kind of like, oh, wait a minute. Good thought. Because I hadn't thought of it that way. So it takes all of us to work together. And I will be back tomorrow, since I'll just be hanging out, not being able to do much with my knee. I got one more day of nothingness. And then hopefully Sunday I'll be able to get up and about and start moving it a little bit. I don't want it to get too sore, or too stiff, should I say. I sent a picture to my best friend who had knee surgery. She had to have her whole knee worked on. And I said, I feel just a tiny bit of your pain. So we were just laughing about that a while ago. But not sure what time tomorrow. Probably around the same time. I like to keep it around the same. That way everybody kind of can expect it. Oh no. Oh. Cecilia, you take care of yourself. We don't want you flooding, and we hope your toe feels better. Man, it hurts when you get toe injuries. Oof. Thank you, Shelly. And just check your email and let me know when a good time is, if you don't mind. So, guys, I'm going to get out of here. And I will be seeing y'all soon. Stay true to Sebastian. Don't let all the hate that's out there pull you down. Remember, we're here for him. So, till next time, love and hugs to everybody. See you soon. Bye.